Greetings to all the learners. Welcome to CEC lecture. The topic of analysis is state and market. In this lecture, we shall attempt to understand various dimensions associated with the concept of market. This lecture shall also elaborate on the role of market, state, with special reference to this interface between state and market dynamics. This lecture shall also present insights on dynamics of state and market, focusing on changes brought in because of globalization, wherein in the public sphere there is a debate with reference to the nature and functioning of the state and market. To begin with, how do we define market? Market, if we go by the economic perspective, it is often defined as composition of systems, institutions, procedures, social relations or infrastructure whereby parties engage in exchange. Taking a very important definition of market that we got from our online research from the Economic Times, that is, market is defined as the sum total of all the buyers and sellers in the area or region under consideration. Now, this area could be earth, countries, regions, states or cities. The value, cost and prices of items traded are as per forces of supply and demand in a market. The market may be a physical entity or may be virtual. As we all know, we are living in an era of technology. Markets have also gone virtual. So, therefore, market may be local, global, perfect or imperfect. From the economics perspective, the term market as used by the economist has a different meaning from the ordinary usage. It does not literally mean the physical space in which commodities are sold or purchased, nor does it mean stages that a commodity passes through between the consumer and the producer. Rather, market refers to the way, the abstract way if we can call, as the purchase and sale transactions of a commodity and the formation of its price takes place. Used in this way, the term market refers to the countless decisions made by producers of a commodity, that is the supply side of the market, and consumers of the commodity, that is the demand side of the market, which taken together determine the price level of the commodity. This term is detached from any particular geographical coverage. The geographical scope of the term depends on the context in which it is being used. It may refer to the local situation in some part of the rural economy, and this we take reference to the important definitions presented by the work of Eilers and others. From the business perspective, business people tend to use the term market to describe groups or of individuals or organizations that make a pool of actual and potential customers for their goods and services. These groups fall into one or more of the following categories. What are they? Geographic, demographic or socio-economic, psychogeographic, behavioral or sectoral. The new institutional economics perspective, according to that, markets are a type of institutions or mechanisms that exist to facilitate exchange, coordination and allocation of resources, goods and services between buyers and sellers, between producers, intermediaries and consumers. Competitive market can provide efficient coordination by reducing the cost and risk of carrying out transactions. It can encourage business development and also help to achieve broader economic objectives. But markets are not always competitive or efficient. Market, therefore, as an institution can be imperfect too. Now, when we look at market structure with taking reference to the important ideas, important modules that we get in economics, it tries to tell us how different industries are classified and differentiated based on the degree and nature of competition for goods and services, based on the characteristics that influence the behavior and outcomes of companies working in a specific market. Market structure, therefore, dear learners, how do we define it as? Market structure refers to how different industries are classified and differentiated based on their degree and nature of competition for services and goods. Now, we have 4 popular types of market structures. What are they? We understand them one by one. Perfect competition, oligopoly market, monopoly market and monopolistic competition. Why the study of market structure is important? We should know that market structures show the relationship between sellers and other sellers, sellers to buyers amongst others, and all of it definitely has an important bearing also with reference to policy making apparatus of the state as well. Now, when we talk about types of market structure, perfect competition occurs when there is a large number of small companies competing against each other. They sell similar products, homogeneous, they lack price influence over the commodities and are free to enter or exit the market. The forces of supply and demand determine the number of goods and services produced as well as market prices set by the companies in the market. Now, an important criticism that has been there with reference to the very idea of perfect competition is that there is no incentive for innovation and that there are very few barriers to entry. Monopolistic competition as a market structure refers to an imperfectly competitive market with the traits of both monopoly and competitive market. Sellers compete amongst themselves and they can differentiate their goods in terms of quality and branding to look different. Companies under a monopolistic competition structure sell very similar products with slight differences they use as the basis of their marketing and advertising. Next market structure, oligopoly. An oligopoly market consists of small number of large companies that sell differentiated or identical products. Since there are few players in the market and their competitive strategies are dependent on each other, oligopolies have companies that collaborate or work together to limit competition and dominate a different market or industry. The companies under oligopoly market structure can be small or large. In a monopoly market, a single company represents the entire industry. It has no competitor and it is the sole seller of products in the entire market. So, therefore, what we just studied, the 4 types of market structure economies, they differ because of some of the following characteristics. What we saw, number of producers is huge in perfect and monopolistic competition. There are only few in oligopoly and only one in monopoly. Further degree of product differentiation is also a matter of concern. Adam Smith, the very renowned economist and philosopher, gave an analysis of the relationship and interdependencies between state and markets way back with the work and inquiry into wealth of nations. The 1937 global recession led to reconsideration of the role of state in regulating the economy, and this also opened the path to the Keynesian theory of market regulation. John M. Gauss, with his article in 1950, very seminal article, The Trends in the Theory of Public Administration, he was the first to initiate a debate about the practice of theorizing on the government work. taking inputs from very important article by Judas T. Cassiona from the Buffalo University, positioning markets and governments in public management, understanding the relationship between the state and markets in public administration, that how from Adam Smith to the revision of the Keynesian theory, what we see here is that today there are different doctrines which are there with reference to the role for the states, markets and the civil society. Robert Dahl expressed concerns about the possibility of science of public administration, and yes, with that also public administration has been under constant influence of theoretical and philosophical paradigms. So what we see here is that states and markets both are crucial for development. There are various perspectives around the notion of state. The negative liberal theory gives a different idea with reference to work of the state. Positive liberalism looks at the welfare role of the state. The Marxist theory looks at the class antagonisms within the state, and the libertarian perspective looks at the need to have more space for individuality and individual rights via market competition. But what we see here is that those states and markets are important for development. The context within which states and market are existing today, that context has changed. The earlier idea, that is the state as the exclusive seat of politics, market and economy something as depoliticized entities, this notion has been contested. These ideas have been criticized now. Looking at the alternate views, the work of Ha Zhongshang, who claims that the political approach should be applied both to the study of state as well as market. Institutionalist political economy that is capable of shedding light on the market's institutional complexity is also needed. Now, as we try to look at the complexities within the market, a very important work that we must take reference to is that by Karl Polanyi, The Economy as Instituted Process in the Sociology of Economic Life, edited by Mark Grumser and Richard Swickberg. What we see here is, in this work, Karl Polanyi points out that rational action, it is a choice of means in relation to end. Formal economics refers to a situation of choice that arises out of an insufficiency of means. It is concerned with action within a market. Whereas, when we look at the alternate side, whereas conditions of choice and actions are quantifiable via prices, namely commodities, products, land, labor, amongst others. This system, as per Karl Polanyi, it has lost relevance outside of the price mechanism. The substantive concept, as opposed to it, is based on the empirical economy, defined as an instituted process of interaction between man and the environment, which results in a continuous supply of satisfying material means. The instituting of the economic processes gives it unity and stability, producing something with a definite structure in society. The human economy is embedded in institutions, both economic as well as non-economic. Now, these alternate views of Ha Zhongshang, alternate views of Karl Polanyi bring to us the very important insight on the working of the market with respect to the state dynamics. That is, for that we take reference to the work of James N. Buchanan, who received the Severages Riksbank Prize in Economic Sciences in the memory of Alfred Nobel in 1986. James Buchanan emphasized that democracy cannot always work as perfectly as everyone predicted, and herein he suggesting looking at the constraints on the authority of power. As we all know, James N. Buchanan won the prize in 1986 in economics for his contribution to public choice theory. He co-founded the public choice theory with another economist, Gordon Tullock. This theory is used to analyze how economics ties in with the decisions of the public apparatus, with the decisions of the public representatives. It points out that how research on public representatives, the politicians' self-interest, utility maximization and other non-monetary maximizing considerations affect their decision making. His insights regarding human nature and political outcomes, it provides a broader understanding of the incentives that motivate political actors and allow for more accurate predictions of political decision making. Further, the work by James Buchanan, that is Liberty, Market and the State, Political Economy in the 1980s, this work gives us that within the public choice theory, the voters, the lawmaker, the bureaucracy, what we nearly assume that they always act in the best public interest, but that is one has to keep into account the political decision with respect to the personal aspects also in mind, the rational perspective in mind. So, herein we see that no doubt market has a very important role to play with reference to the working of any economic model. Market and its relationship with the state indeed has a bearing, but this market need not be seen in simplistic terms only. Just like we problematize on the working of the state from the classical liberal to positive liberal to Marxist to libertarian perspective, market also needs to be seen with reference to various interpretations that are there within it. Another important perspective with reference to state market dynamics comes from the social choice theory. The social choice theory is concerned with finding an optimal method. What could be an optimal way that aggregates individual preferences, judgments, votes, decisions for good rule. When we try to understand social choice theory, Kenneth Arrow, American neoclassical economist who won the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economics along with John Hicks in 1972 for the contribution to general equilibrium analysis and welfare economics. The very important work by Kenneth Arrow, that is on social choice and individual values, social choice and individual values, published in 1951, Kenneth Arrow's book specifies 5 conditions that a society's choices must meet to reflect individual choices. What are they? Universality, responsiveness, independence of irrelevant alternatives, non-imposition and non-dictatorship. So, what we see here is that how the very dynamics of social choice theory tells us that looking at the optimal method also with reference to aggregate individual preferences, decisions for good rules, demands a meticulous approach with reference to balancing the concerns of the state as well as that of the market. Now, as we take the leap towards the contemporary times, we all know in the contemporary phase we are in the phase of globalization. Globalization is the process of integration, it is a process of interaction amongst people, companies, governments of different nations. Globalization as a process, though it is not new, it has always existed. The idea of trade and exchange of goods and services has existed in human civilizations ever since the Great Silk Route. But in the contemporary times, it is driven by international trade and investment. This process is aided by information technology, and what we see here is that with the rise of technology in every sphere of human activity, which has even led to the rise of virtual markets, virtual economic models, globalization has put the entire phenomena of governance on multi-dimensional nature, and this multidimensionality has an impact into the dynamics, the interface, the space state and market can acquire with reference to the public sphere. We all know trade and technology have indeed connected the world. It has made the world more interdependent, more connected. But with this interdependence and connections, the sphere of states and markets demand revisit. It demands a reanalysis at how do we situate both of them. There is free flow of goods and services, lower cost ways to produce their products. It has led to increasing global competition, which has driven down prices, created larger variety of choices for consumers. So no doubt with the rise of global apparatus of markets, trade and finance, market has indeed gone change. With free flow of goods and services, a lot of choices are there, lowering of cost is there, and above all, price mechanisms have also been worked out. Now, with this, globalization of product and financial markets also is there, wherein increased economic integration in specialization and in economies of scales have resulted in greater trade in financial service through both financial capital flows, cross-border entry activities amongst others. So what we see here is that there is a research to point out, this very important reference from open knowledge that we got from the World Bank, that globalization and innovation in emerging markets, this report points out that globalization has stimulated innovation by domestic firms in emerging market economies through vertical transfer of capabilities. So no doubt with this ambit of rise of globalization, markets have indeed undergone change, and with reference to its interface with the state, there are new aspects also. So what we see here is the very important article by Levitt, that is globalization of the markets. We read this article from the Harvard Business Review, available online also, that is, powerful force drives the world towards converging commonality, and that force is technology. Now, this technology, as the article by Levitt points out, it has prioritized communication, transport and travel. This article points out, and we quote, that there is a new commercial reality, and this commercial reality is important to point out because we are looking at the working of the market, that is emergence of global markets for standardized consumer products on a previously unimagined scale of magnitude. So what we see here is, that is the definition as we take from the work of David Heath, Anthony McGrew and others, from the work Global Transformations, Politics, Economics and Culture, that is globalization. It signifies compression that is there happening in the world through changes in the spatial organization of social relations and transactions, creating transcontinental and inter-regional flows and networks. Now, what we see, that as the market has moved towards a new reality, there is a new commercial reality, there is a new virtual reality, there is a new technological reality, and there is a pervasive aspect to that which has led to rise of trans-border connect. Herein the role of state also has witnessed change. The original idea of the state, namely if we look at from the global parlance, that is the Westphalian model. Herein the state was the highest power with complete sovereignty. State had to look after law and order, state had to look after governance. Now with the rise of market as an important non-state factor in the governance paradigm, the current role of the state has also gone change, and it is different from the earlier existing ideas. The role of state has changed. That is, firstly, interdependence is an important factor today, and today we also have to see there has been rise of new forms of security threats, from technology, pandemics to environment, ecology, climate change, sustainability, all of which they cut across the borders. States were created to be sovereign, as we take this very important remark from the work of M. Shaw, that is theory of the global state, globality as an unfinished revolution, that is, states were created to be sovereign, but now due to globalization, often they give away their sovereignty away to pooling. So what we see here is that with reference to work of the state, with reference to the changes in dynamics of the market, there have been changes. Market is a very important aspect with reference to the development paradigm. Market is a very crucial pillar when we look at the governance. What we have to see, that market and state both are equally important for welfare. We have to understand that how market has a wider connotation, it has a wider meaning attached to it from the institutional, from the business, from the economic perspective. When we try to analyze various types of market structures, what we see here is that the relationship between states and market has always been very crucial, and this relationship between states and market today it's witnessing different doctrines, different ideas, different perspective, which is earmarking, which is designating different roles for states, market and the civil society. We are living at a time wherein the idea that state is the exclusive seat of politics and market as an economy as detached from it, this notion has been severely criticized. Today there is demand for more innovation, more entrepreneurship, more holistic approach on part of both state and market, because state and market both are crucial for development. One also has to look at the alternate views both from the rational as well as from the social choice theory, with reference to understanding that how the economic apparatus, the working of the market is linked to the working of the state apparatus also. We cannot look at decision making in isolated terms, when in order to understand governance in a bigger framework of welfare, comprehensive growth for all, we need to look at the working of dynamics of the state and market as related to each other. We hope that the lecture presented to you significant inputs and insights. We look forward to positive, encouraging feedback from you all. Thank you very much.